concerning. All right, guys. Okay, so we basically looked at most of the basics of C sharp, and I guess you guys are quite familiar with it. So in this class, we are going to be going further with this. Okay, we are going to start looking at how to actually put it to good use. Like so, one of you said, I don't even remember the person. But I say we never even start anything because what we've learned so far is no, we've not been able to put it to use, right? We've not been able to use it for anything at all. So
It's
what
me.
we're okay, you are so thank God that you don't talk on yourself. So we're going to start creating an ESPNet core project now. Okay. Now depending on the version of C sharp you have on your system, all right, depending on the version you have, okay, things might be different, but I'm feeling we should just use the standard .NET 6 that is available instead of going back to 3. But when you're ready, you can look up the difference between 6 and 3. It's still the same thing, but just like one or two minor differences. So to create a new project, we'll click create project. It will go ahead and load up for us the available templates we can create a project with. Okay, so whenever you want to create a project in C sharp, you would have to select from a template. Now, this is taking time because this is the first time I'm doing this. If you've done this before on your PC, it shouldn't take much time. Now, the template we are looking for is ASP.NET Core Web App. You can see this ASP.NET Core Web App. Now, be careful. There are different types of ASP.NET Core Web App. There's web app for C sharp, there's web app for VB.NET, and there's web app for F sharp. You want to make sure you select the option that says C sharp. Now, if you come down here to make this your, this is a list here, a list of the templates available. You can actually filter down this list to what you want. Okay, you can actually filter it down. To filter it down, what do? Just click here and I can say I only want Windows. Or instead of that, let me say I only want the one for C sharp. You see the different languages available here, but I want the one for C sharp. You see that it will reduce the list. Okay. What if I say I want the one for web? Let me use project type here and say I want for web. You see, we also filter it down. But if you don't have time to do all this, you can start at the top here. So let me say I'm searching for ASP.NET. If I hit enter, you see it will filter all of them down. It's showing me ASP.NET Core for C sharp alone. Good. Now, there are a ton of templates you can pick from. You can see this is just ASP.NET Core Web App. This is ASP.NET Core Web App API. Take note of that API there. This one is used when you want to build an API backend. But we are not going to start with that. We are going to start with this first one. Okay. So we have ASP.NET Core Web App. We have ASP.NET Core empty. This one is actually empty. And if you are more advanced or you have time to wait, you might want to you maybe although sometimes you might want to build everything from scratch. Okay, from scratch. You don't want any starter code. You want everything to start from scratch. You can use this. Then we also have ASP.NET Core Web Model. ASP.NET Core Web, okay, web app, but this one is using MVC as
Model view controller.
yes, model view controller.
MVC, yeah.
Now,
MVC.
to start our project, we are stuck in between using two options. This model view controller and this one. Now, Razor Pages is actually a new one, but I only use model view controller when I want to build API project. If I want to build a normal traditional app like we want to do now, I mostly use Razor Pages. But we are actually not going to be picking Razor Pages because most developers are more common with the model view controller approach. Hence, the likes of GIF and Latif. Most people that have learned this before would have learned model view controller. Razor Page is actually great, but it's new. Personally, I use it, but like I said, in this field, don't expect that you will get everything from one training you went to. Because even as we are finishing the training, Microsoft is releasing new features to the ecosystem. But what I will do is I'll just teach you what is more common out there. If there is any other thing you need, it's actually something you can learn yourself with what I have taught you. That sounds good, right?
Yep, yep.
All right. So we are going to go with this option. On your system, make sure you select this option. ASP.NET
The
Core
MVC.
Web App
MVC.
MVC Model View Controller Approach. This one here. If you are not seeing it, come and search for it here. You can search ASP.NET MVC. If I search for that now, you see to give me this one here. Okay, this is the one you want to select. Friday, are you with us?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Good.
ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller. Okay, I've seen
Exactly.
it.
Good. That's the one we need. And be sure that the language is C sharp, not F sharp or VB or any other thing. Okay. All right. With that done, go ahead and click on this. And now it's asking you configure your project. Give the project a name and any other thing. For this project now, I'm going to give it a name of, since these are very first web apps, we'll give this a name. Who can give us a name? Try to give us a name. Maybe one project idea you used to have. Which name do you want to call it?
Um, I be one build them hotel.
Okay. Let's call this hotel. Oh, let's try to switch up the name so it will be like say they use another name we don't already. Who can switch
Okay.
up this name for us? Latif, switch up this name. Instead of calling it hotel, give us a name we can call it.
Uh,
We can
Standard
actually
hotel.
use eh?
Standard hotel.
Standard hotel, okay? That makes sense. But although this is not part of our class, but sometimes when you come up with your name for an app, the first thing you actually have to do is go online, go and make research and make sure that nobody is using it. You understand?
Hmm.
So for this one now, we would actually use hotel but with a double L. You see that? So the pronunciation now will not be the standard hotel, but it will be like hotel. Okay? So, but that's just a name. It's not part of our class. Okay, you can call it whatever you like. But what I advise is, when you're creating a project, don't leave space for the naming. Although it will go, but professionally, I advise you don't do that. Whenever you want to name and you feel like you want to use two or more words, you do it like how you used to name your variable. Use underscore, use camel case or Pascal case, any approach. You guys remember that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Another common one I use is dot to separate two words. But don't use a space. It will work, oh, but when you start facing issue later, don't say Mr. Steven because I will not answer you. Alright. The next thing is you want to select the location where you want to save the file. Alright? So to select the location, you click on this browse button. It will tell you where do you want to save it. Now, me, I want to save in the desktop. I'll create a new folder called training. Create a new folder called training. You can name yours anything. Okay. Once I'm done, I'm going to select that folder, and you can see now that it changes it to that. Okay, what is this name? What is wrong with this? Desktop training selection. Alright. Once I'm done with that now, okay, I can go ahead. Don't worry about other boxes yet. Okay? Just what you need is the name and the folder to save it. This, are you following us? Alright, perfect. So once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and click on next. Now it's asking me which framework version. We've been through this before now. I'm guessing most of us know this.
Yeah.
The framework version. Is it three? Is it seven? Is the most recent? But we are going to go with six. Okay, we are going to go with six. Now it's asking us which authentication type do we want. Now, normally when you are building an app, okay, if you are going to add login to the app, maybe you want people to be able to log in or not log in. That's when we need this authentication, whatever. Okay, but for now, we will not add authentication. For the next app we are going to build, maybe the next version of Hotel, maybe we'll call that Hotel 2.0. We will be
Mm.
adding authentication. You know what authentication is now? When you want to use an app, they tell you to log in first.
Yeah.
That app now has authentication, but for now we are not going to use it. So leave it as none. If you select individual account, that means the person can log in with either their email, their Google account, their Microsoft account, and so on and so forth. If you select Microsoft Identity Platform, it has to do with one other authentication like this. I haven't used this, but it's Microsoft related. And this one is Windows. This one means that the person can log in with their Windows credential. But mostly what you are going to use as a developer is either none or individual account. I've hardly used any of these two. I've used Windows before, but that was just for practice sake. So for now, select none. It is very important. Make sure you are doing exactly what. Although I don't get trouble in one of my Python class, I don't get students like that. So they tell them what to do. They will do another one saying they were trying to see how it would be like. All right, are we together?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Once you're done with that, leave every other option. Don't check, but leave this one that says configure for HTTP. Don't uncheck it. Very important. And then when you're done, click on create. That should start now. Create the project.
Boom. There we are.
You say what?
I said, boom. Here we are. Another
Abi?
model view.
All right,
It's been a
good.
long time I see this.
Omo.
It's been a long time you saw this, Abi.
Omo. Plenty things don't come up. Oh.
And plenty things you don't know. Maybe like you want to learn back end. You say na me send you message. Now you want to learn back end.
Omo. Waiting
But
be
like,
this.
but like I said, don't let anything in text scare you. No matter how
Okay.
big it looks like, when you understand each part and what it is, you are quickly good to go.
All right.
I haven't given up documentation.
You say what?
They give us documentation. Guys.
Like if they give you
The documentation, the .NET Core documentation.
exactly, you can see you have the documentation here. You can click on any of these. You will go to different links to play around. Now I'll send you some of those links because see, I tell you this. The best way to learn is to learn from different platforms at a time. And as you are learning from me, learn from go and read documentation, watch YouTube videos. That's what will make you good. All right?
Yeah.
Good. So the first thing I'm going to do is explain this folder structure to you. All right? That's what I'm going to do first. Now, if you look at this left hand side here,
Sorry,
right?
sorry.
Okay.
Are we on record?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay.
So if you look at this left hand side, you can see we have different folders. Now, don't worry about this first connected services. Okay. What you want to first of all look at is the dependencies. Okay. Now, what are dependencies? Sometimes you might be writing a code that will depend on somebody else's code. We call those things libraries or dependencies in C sharp. What I mean is this. For example, now I want to let me look for. Okay, there's a particular framework in C sharp. okay, particular library, what humanize. What humanize does is, have you ever been to Facebook? You see a post and Facebook will write 2 days ago, 1 minute ago.
Yeah.
I've seen that before,
Yes.
exactly. Now, normally in Facebook database, they don't have 2 days ago, 1 minute. What they have in their database is the exact date the person posted that thing. But imagine if I tell you somebody posted this post on the 2nd of December, on the 2nd of February 2023. Now long English I just talk like that. But if I told you the person posted it 1 minute ago, you already know it was today, right?
Yeah.
So what Humanize does is it will convert anything. It can convert date or even big number, convert it into a form that is easy for human to read. That is why you are seeing 2 days ago, 1 minute ago. Another thing Humanize can do, 1 million is six zeros, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I write 1 million and as in figures, 1000 in figures, and I write 1 million in words, which one will you first understand, the figure or the word?
The words.
The word. Why you first quickly understand the word is because for the figures, you have to be counting how many zeros before you conclude. Are we together on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Humanize in C# can do that for us. It will convert a number to a human readable format. Now, it can do this and many more things, many more. But when you want now, you can write your own code to do that if you have time. But me, I don't get time. So instead of writing your own code, you can use this existing code. This existing code that you want to use in your own code is what we call dependencies or libraries. Do we get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you are building your project and you have dependencies, most of them will be, you will see them under here when you drop this thing down. Currently, I don't think we have. No, we have two
We have
dependencies.
a lot of them.
You see, there are plenty. You see a lot of dependencies. Good. Why we have these things here is because we are using a template. So for the template to be created, we needed all of this. Now, the next one is properties. Now, for these properties, the most important thing is the only thing here, launch settings.json. Now, this launch settings.json, you see when I open it, you see what I'm doing, right? Now, this launch settings.json basically contains all the settings your app needs to launch. My advice, don't come here and play around here. This is not a playground. Leave it the way it is. Now, one thing I want to quickly point out is you see this place we are seeing application URL, right?
Mm.
Now, when you launch this app, this is the URL they will be running on. Now, there are different, I will explain to you the different ways of running your app and the different profiles you can use in running. Let me just explain it here. Now, when you want to run a .NET Core project, right? There are two profiles you can use when you want to run. The first one is to use IIS. That stands for I've forgotten the Latif, if you remember the formula of that.
Information Internet System, something like that.
Yes, that IIS, yes. Now you can use IIS to run your project. If you use it to run, it will run on this port. Or you can use an inbuilt server. Okay, this server is actually a Linux server. Now, if you use it, that one will run on this port here. And to prove that to you, you see this play button at the top here.
Mm.
If I click the drop down beside it, right? If I click the drop down beside it, you see I have hotel, the name of our app, and I have another one that says IIS Express. Now, if I select IIS Express, that means I want to use this profile at the top here to run it. That means I want to use this profile at the top here to run the app, which means my app will run on this port. This localhost colon 30956. If I run the app now, you see this is the URL to run on. But if I select the name, you see this our hotel it just wrote the name there. If I select this now, I've told it to use this other profile here. You see that? So this is the profile you should use here. And that means it will run on this port local host 7088 or local host 5204. Most commonly, people use this profile more, unless you have specific reason to want to use IIS. IIS is the old one we used to use. It was the only one available before, but we have a server now, okay, that we can use. So most people use this over IIS. But if you still want to use IIS, you are free to do that. That's the launch setting file. Now, after the launch setting file, you have your www route. Now, some of everybody here has little experience of front end, Abby. You've
Yes.
created an HTML file before.
Yeah.
You created a JavaScript or a CSS file before. Good.
Yeah.
Now, if you are going to have CSS in your code, this is where you write. You see, you have a CSS folder already. You have a JavaScript folder already. You also have a lib folder. This lib folder, you see that by default, ASP.NET Core uses Bootstrap.
Mm.
And you can see Bootstrap there already. How many of us have ever used Bootstrap before? Just,
I,
if you've
I,
never used, say something.
no, I think I've used once.
Okay, you don't have to be an expert in it. Don't forget, this is not a front-end class, so your
Yeah.
design doesn't have to be perfect. My major focus in this class is to get you in flow with how front-end and back-end work, and then our focus
But
now.
I thought the common library most C# developers use is Angular.
You
How
said
come we
what?
have jQuery here? I
You
thought the
said
common library. I thought the common library most C# developers use is Angular. How come we have jQuery here?
no, 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 no. Don't mix it together like this. Angular is a front-end library. Okay.
And jQuery.
Yes, you know what? Maybe I'm actually planning a free class, although that will be the front end next week or upper week. It will be a session that will teach web and some of these terminology. Okay, so in that class we'll talk more on it. But Angular, React, or Vue.js, okay, they are not the same jQuery and we are not the same jQuery. Just keep that in mind, okay?
Okay. Okay.
At least are you there?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, good. So we have this part, we have jQuery, these are the libraries. Now, if you are going to be, what is that now coming?
Want to start. I want to value marketing for 5 times.
All right. Now, if you are going to have images in your project, you can come here, just right click and create a new images folder. Okay, so I can say add new folder. This will create a new images folder for you. So I can call this images. And then I'll put all of my images here. Are we on track with that? Hello guys. Okay, everybody don't mute.
Yes,
Okay,
Yes.
good.
yes, yeah.
So once we are done with that, all right, now this now brings us to, I'll skip these three model view controller. We'll come back to them. Okay. Now these are the major folders you'll be working on most. Your model, your controller, your model, and your view. But we'll come back to that. Before we continue, let's come to this folder called appsetting.json. Appsetting.json. Now, sometimes, okay, you will need to configure some default setting for your app to use when it's running. Most times we save these settings in the appsetting.json. Now, that might not really make sense, so I will not waste time explaining this too much. But when we need it and we use it, you will see the importance. Okay? Alright. But if you notice in appsetting.json, we have an arrow that drops down. And we have another file called appsetting.development.json, right? Can you see that? Hello, guys.
Yes, yes.
All right, good. Now, in C Sharp or in Visual Studio, whenever you have two files that have similar names, for example, you see this one name starts with app settings.json. This one is app settings.development.json. Whenever you have two files with similar names in Visual Studio, Visual Studio will keep them under each other, which means you can drop it down. Okay, the other one will be hidden under the first one. That's why you saw that normally we don't see this one till we drop down this arrow. But I can tell Visual Studio that I don't want that. I want to see everything on their own. To do that, you can click on this this icon that has all this drop down, drop down, drop down. If I click on it now, you see that both of them are showing separately now.
Hmm.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
So why most people toggle that is because it makes our code a bit readable. At least it reduces the number of files we can see.
Yeah.
And it only shows us the most important file. Now that we are done with that, we also have our program.cs. Program.cs file. Okay, program.cs. I know we are used to this one in C Sharp. With that first file you see when you create a console app,
Yeah.
this is it here. But this one just does a lot more than that. But for this class, we won't dive in too much inside our program.cs. We won't spend too much time inside it. Right? What we are going to do more is spend time in our controller, our model, and our view. All right, I actually need to do something very important now. So we're actually going to take a 10-minute break. But before we go on that, this is what I want you to do. I want you to run your app. Okay, run your project that you created using this play button here. Okay, I'm going to run mine by just clicking on this play button and it should start running. Okay, mine is running. For the first time you are running, it's actually going to take time. So please give it time. Okay, just give it time.
It looks like me, I'm getting plenty errors.
You are getting what?
I'm getting errors. Different ones.
If you get this pop-up, did you guys see this pop-up I'm getting?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Are you with us?
Yes, the same thing.
All right, good. If you get it, click on don't ask me again and click on yes. What this wants to
Oh,
do is it wants to install some SSL certificate. So don't ask me again. Yes. Make sure you click yes and click no.
okay.
And then if you get this one after that, click on yes again.
Okay.
Same thing. Click on, just keep clicking on don't ask me again, yes, until everything is done. Yes again. Good. Once that is done, you should start loading the app.
Oh boy.
And by
My
default,
my my own said suspicious file detected.
just click yes. Don't worry about all those ones.
It prompts up command this thing.
Prompt.
One prompt.
Yes.
Did it tell you to do anything?
Wait,
No.
which version of SSC are you?
It's 2022.
Close the command prompt and try to run again.
I've closed. Is I think it's running, but it's
It's
not.
running. Let it run.
Okay, okay, okay. It's
Mine is
running.
coming up and mine is up now. Look at mine.
Oh, my own is up. My
How,
own is up.
how come
Welcome.
how come how come everybody's laptop is slow like this?
How come what?
Everybody's
That
laptop
is,
is slow. Why not finish
what did
running?
you say?
I said how come everybody's laptop is slow? Why not finish running?
Everybody's laptop is fast.
It's slow.
Like if I can't really
My
hear
own
you.
is up. Oh.
Don't worry.
Latif, what's happening today now? Is anybody holding you down there?
And I
Nobody's
waiting I
holding me
want
down.
Ah, this one you are not. This one your voice is not coming up.
to
I think it's because of the headset I'm using. I'm trying to use headset so I can hear everything you're saying.
Oh, okay.
Okay, my own is up.
Yeah. Although the first time it will take time. Okay, the very first time it will take time. So just give it time. And that is mine there. Okay. So for now, you can just click around this project, click around each of the links and just give me like 10 minutes to finish what I want to do and then we'll come back. You can take it as a break. You know what? Okay, it's already 10, almost 10:30. That means we've been having the class for like an hour now, right? We started by 9:30.
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, we're actually going to take a break. So instead of taking another break after this one, let's take like a 15 minutes too small for you guys.
No,
It's
it's
okay.
okay.
All
5 minutes
right.
is okay.
Let's take. Gives, are you with us? All right, good. So let's just take a 15 minute break, which means by
All right.
which means by 10:45 we should be back, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, good. So let's take a 15 minute break. But during the break, you
All right.
cannot do anything. You can be just look through this site. Okay, but don't
Okay.
take anything yet. Be cool.
All right.
All right. So, Mr. Nayu, you don't do something now. You say, well done, though.
I'm sure I want to start coding.
And it's now we want to start work. Okay.
Start debugging and looking for errors.
All right. So, as I was saying, we've run the project and we are back to Visual Studio. Now, if you have this thing showing up, it's just a diagnostic tool showing you the progress
Yes.
of your system and how everything there is working. So that's for that. Okay, shows you your system and everything there. All right. With that being said, let's bring up our project. We want to see our project file. To do that, you see that it would have collapsed to this left-hand side. You can see that up you have Solution Explorer. So we are looking for the Solution Explorer. That's what lists all of our projects, and we are looking for that. So I'll click on that, and that should bring up Solution Explorer. And you can see we have our project back. Now, whenever you are running your project, your Solution Explorer would not be pinned here. But me, I want it to be here. And because you see, if I bring it up and I come here to do anything, it will go again. But I need it to be there. So what I would need to do is click on it and click on this pin icon at the top here. Okay. Notice this pin icon there. That's what I'm going to click on. So I'll click on it. And the moment I do that, you see that it's pinned here. But you will notice now we have smaller screen to work with. Me, I don't even need this diagnostic tool. Okay,
Abi,
I
I
don't
wanted
need
to
it.
ask, what
So
do we use? What do we need? Why not we close
exactly.
it?
So I will unpin it. If you notice that this one, the pin is facing down, which means it's currently pinned. But now me, I will unpin it, and you can see it's no longer there, and that is what I want. So I want my project structure and my code environment. I don't want that other one. Good. Now that that is done, let's look at the concept of MVC, Model View Controller. Model View Controller. Let me see if I can bring up a whiteboard. Let me bring up a whiteboard. Alright. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Someone inside there. Okay, there it is. Oh, I'm bringing up a whiteboard. Let's give it a to be able to draw in this environment. So the concept of model view controller, MVC. So if I go ahead and let me draw, can I pick a pencil? Okay, so MVC. Now, M here, as you have known, stands for model. M there stands for model. V here stands for view. And C here stands for controller. Now, your view, this view here, represents your HTML file, the page that the user sees. So when we launched our app right now, we saw a test that said, let's see what was in our app when we launched it. Good. This was what we saw when we launched our app. Welcome. Now, this is a view. This is an example of a view. Our privacy page is a view. This is our home page is a view. So in MVC, V there stands for view. That is what your user can see, what they can view. And if I just told you now that this home page is a view, right? Now let's go and see where this home page is existing in our code. If we come back to Visual Studio Code and I drop down view, you will notice there that we are seeing it there. You see, we have home, and if I drop down home, did you see index.cshtml there? Let me open
Yes.
index.cshtml. You see, you are seeing welcome and learn about a URL building web apps. Let's open our web page and see what we are seeing. Is that not what we are seeing in our web page?
Yes.
Did you see that? That right there is a view. Okay? This right here is a what? It's a view. And that's what this view here stands for, what your user can see. So if you are looking for all the pages where they are keeping all the pages, just come to the view, because that's where they are. This is the home page. Okay, the home here contains the index, it contains the privacy page. Now, but that's not actually what I wanted to explain to you guys. Now, where is that okay, good. M here stands for the model. M here stands for the model. In this case now, I want you to take the model to be your database tables, because that's what they are. Take it to be your database table where your data is coming from. And the view is what your user will see, right? This is what your user will see, the view. The M here now, your user will not see it because this is where your data is coming from. But what of C? C here stands for controller. C here stands for what? Controller. What does the controller do? Well, it is very simple. The controller controls data or controls data from the model to the view. Let me rewrite this thing in another format. Let's clean this. We will need this here. This one is not doing justice to this clean up. Let's play this one. Is there a big radar? No, no bigger. Okay. So we have our M. I'm going to put C in the middle this time around and B here. Okay. So let's do it like this. Do you guys see this now?
Yes.
Can you guys see this now? Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, good. So the model is where our data is coming from. The data will be sent to the controller, and then the controller will determine which view will display the data. Now, some of you might ask, why do we need this flow? The truth is, In a web project, you might have plenty view. Like in this example now, we have two, right? The home view and the privacy view. Let's say we have this other view that is called, since we are building a hotel app, we want to have a page that will contain all the hotels that we have, all the rooms we have in our hotel, so people can easily book, right? Maybe that's what we want to do. Well, in that case now, all the rooms that the people can book, the room themselves will be stored in our database, room 101, room 102, room 103. So if a user says, okay, oh, I want to see all the rooms, the data will come from our model. Our model will pass the data to the controller. The controller will now decide, okay, which view will show this data. Oh, is it the home view? Is it the hotel view? Is it this view? And then show the data in that respective view. So basically what we have is the model, which is where our data is coming from, or where our data is. The controller, which is standing in between the model and the view to control which view will be showing the data. Now, let's do it this way. You know, if you guys remember how a web app work, maybe you've attended one of my classes where I did intro to HTML, CSS, or the web. Basically, when you're on the web, you know, as a user now, when you visit with your PC, let's say this is you here, this is your PC. You have your PC here, you visit the web. Let's say, you know, every website you visit is a server somewhere, right? So let's say this is the server here. Now, every time you are visiting this server, you are sending what we call a request. You're sending a request to the server. Now, what are you requesting for? You are requesting for some data. You are telling the server, please, I need this data, send it back. For example, let me say you wanted to visit the index.html. Let's just say that. Writing it there is stressful. Let's say you wanted to visit the index.html page. So you sent the request to the server to give you that page. If the server gets the page, it will send this request back to the user. I mean, it will send what we call a response, not a request anymore. It will send back a response. A response back to the user. Now, this response the server sends back to the user can contain data. Now, since this is back end, our focus is on this server now. Whenever the user makes a request to the server, what does the server do using this MVC approach? Well, it is simple. Now, let's say we have a page called hotels. Okay, we have a page called hotels.html. Hotel.html. Now, what we want to do is whenever a user visits this page, what did you say? I'm using my mouse. It's not a sketchbook, it's my mouse I'm using. This one doesn't have text, does it? Oh, that's true. Thank you, Jai. I was looking for it. I'm used to Zoom. If it was in Zoom now, I would have seen it since. Okay, that's true. See, Latif, instead of helping me, saying, see my this thing, get as it be. No worry, I will do you back. All right, good. So let's pick a text. So let's say we have a page called hotel.html, and our users, right, wants to visit this page. And what this page basically does is it sends back all the hotels we have and displays it to the user. Now, you know, the user will make a request, right? So it will go there, make a request to the server. The server will see the request and it will ask itself, oh, which view is this request requesting for. Oh, the person is requesting for our home.html view. But in C Sharp, keep in mind, we don't usually save it as .html. We save it as .cshtml. If you see our views, you will notice it's index.cshtml, privacy.cshtml. Do you see that? Good. So we don't use .html. CS there stands for C Sharp. So index.c#html. And that is because in these our HTML pages, we can actually write C# code inside it. You will see more of that later. But for now, let's go back to our sketch. All right, good. Now, if the person says he wants to visit our hotel.html page, how will this thing work? It is simple. It will come, the view will request for all the data that this page needs. You know, don't forget that on this page, we want to show all the hotels we need, Abby. I mean, all the hotels we have in our database. So the view will try to, you know, the view does not contain the data. What is holding our data? Who remembers? Which of these things is holding our data? Exactly. The view now cannot talk to the model directly because it does not have what is required to talk to the model. So do you know what the view will do? The view will tell the controller, when somebody has visited me and the person needs all the hotel, I don't know how you will do it, but talk to Oga model to return the hotel for us. So the controller now will pick, now what I'm trying to say is that this thing, the same way it goes this way, it can sometimes go this way too. Okay, that's what I'm trying to illustrate here. Request can come this way too. Good. So the view will tell the controller, please, somebody wants to visit my hotel.html page. And you know, on the page, I'm supposed to display all the hotels. So please, give me all the hotels. The controller does not contain the data. Its own job is to control, like a supervisor. Okay, it does not control the data, but it knows the person that is in charge of data. So the controller now will tell the model, okay, yeah, he needs the list of all the hotels. And then this model now will go to the database, grab all the list of the hotels available, send it back to the controller. Then the controller again will send it to the view that requested for it. Did you see how 3 of them works? You said? Yeah. But for now, when you're talking about MVC, we refer to as model being our data for now. Okay? All right. Now, with that being said and done, okay? Now, in your project, you can have as many models as possible. You can have a hotel model, the one returning hotel. You can have a users model, the one that will return the list of your users. You can have a places model or offices model or employees model. So you can have a lot of models. Are we together there? Then the controller again, you can have different controllers. So you can have the home controller, you can have the hotel controller, you can have the users controller, just different controllers based on what you want. Don't worry, by the time we continue this class, you understand how to create these things based on your need. Then the view again, you can have different views. At least we have seen for view that it's possible to have 1 or 2 views. You can see them here. Now, the easiest way I would explain this, you can see in our model, we don't worry about this error view model. We'll talk about that later. But you can see currently, we have a home controller. Now, this is how this thing flows. For now, we will not deal with model. I told you today, we are not dealing with database or anything like that. Our focus today will be on views and controller. Now, you can see that on your control, under the controller, we have a home controller. But did you also notice if I drop down my view, we have a folder in the view called home? Did you notice that? Now, keep in mind, that is not a coincidence. Don't be say it just happened. Whenever you have a controller, create a folder for the controller. That is very important. So let's say we want to have a controller now for hotel, and the job of this controller is to display all of the hotels we have. So to create a controller, how do I create it? Well, as an experienced person, there are a lot of ways I can do it. But because I like shortcut, the easiest way I used to use is I'll copy the existing controller, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and I will rename it to what I want. But since you are a beginner, I will teach you how they do am. Make una no go think say I no sabi am. Alright, so to create a controller, all we need to do is on this controller folder, right click on it and say add. Now it will ask you, what do you want to add? Do you want to add a new item, an existing item, a new folder, or a new class? I'm going to select add new items. Now in some cases you should have even selected this controller. I don't know why that. Oh, we are still running our projects, that's why. Good, I know I should see controller there. Stop your projects from running, right click again, add. You will see you can add a controller. You see controller. So if I click on controller there, now it wants me to add the controller. Now it's asking, do you want to add an empty controller or a controller with read and write action, or a controller using entity framework? We have not done entity framework, so we'll go leave that one. In fact, we want to use an empty controller so that I show you how you build everything from scratch. So I'll select empty controller. Now we want to give the controller a name. Now in ASP.NET Core, when you are naming your controller, you should always prefix it with controller. What that means is whatever name you give, controller must be in front of it. You see, we have home controller. Now I'm going to create a hotel controller. Don't just say hotel. Although your code will still work, but the convention, the recommended thing is when you are creating a controller, always prepend it with the word controller so that you yourself you will know it's a controller. So with that done, I'll hit add, and that should create that new controller for us. You can see the controller is an empty controller. So let's all do that. Please let me push it there in this button. So right click on your controllers folder, but make sure you end your program. End your program, right click on your controllers folder, click on controller, click on add, then controller, empty controller, give the controller a name, hotel, prepend it with controller, and click OK to create it. Yes. You said what? No, rename it, change the name. Don't worry about the extension. C# will add the extension for you. Just make sure you have hotel controller. If you like, put the .cs. If you like, don't put it. C# will put it for you. Are you done? Did it create? Good. Gift, are you still with us? You've been silent. No problem. All right. Prince, what's up? Are you still with us? All right. So I guess everyone have created their controller. Now, to quickly explain this, you can see that our controller is actually a class. We've talked about classes in C#. Okay, our controller is actually a class, and the name of the class is what? Hotel controller. But you can see it's inheriting. We talked about inheritance, right? It's inheriting from a controller class that was written by Microsoft. We are not going to worry ourselves about where it's inheriting from. What I want to point you to now is that, did you notice that this class has a method? No properties here, just method. And this method, what's the name of the method? Index. And the return type is iActionResults. Now, we'll talk about return types later, but for now, leave it as iActionResults. There are different return types you can use, but for now, we are going to be focusing on iActionResults. So leave it at that. What that means is it's returning a web page. For now, take it to be that is returning a web page. And then inside it just says return view. You just see this thing is saying what? Return a what? Return a view. Now, the question now is, if somebody tries to visit our controller, now let's do this. Okay, before we launch the app again, we try to see how this runs. Now, whenever you create an action in a controller, you have to create a view for that action. Don't forget, right now, the way for a user to visit this controller is on your browser. They will go to www. Whatever it was. But before, when we go to home, it will go to the home controller, right? Now, when the user goes to hotel, it will come to this hotel controller. Now, you can have as many methods you want inside your controller. For example, I can create another method and call this. Let's create another method. I'll just copy this existing code. Okay, I'll create another method and I'll call this method. Let me see, what should I call it? I can call this method. Let me see, let's think of a name. I can call this method details. Okay, I'm not going to use it for now, but let's call it details. Now, if somebody comes to our website and does /hotel/detail, our website will call this action method. But if the person calls /hotel/index, which one do you think it will call? This one at the top here, right? But keep in mind that the index action, we call this thing, now when we are dealing with ASP.NET Core, we don't really call these things that are returning iActionResults, we don't really refer to them as methods, we refer to them as actions, but it's still the same thing, it's just a different name. Okay, now if you see the name of this action, what's the name? Index, right? Which means if somebody visits hotel/index, this is the action that will be called, right? But if the person visits hotel/details, this is what will be called. But keep in mind that this one here, this index, is also our default action, which means if the person does not specify an index, maybe what the person did, he just did /hotel, he did not put anything after that, this is the action that will still be called because this is the default action. Are we okay with that? All right. Now, as you are creating this action, you have to create a view for them, because if you notice that these actions are returning a view, so you have to create a view for the actions. How do you create a view? It's simple. There are a couple of ways you can do it. You can use shortcuts, right? But one way you can do it is come to your views folder. You see, this is my views folder. I can right click and say new. Then first thing you need to do when you are creating a view for a controller is create a view for the controller itself before create a folder for the controller before creating views for each action. If you can see it, for our home controller, we have a folder called what? Home. Did you see that? So for our hotel controller now, we need a folder called hotel. It's after you create this folder now that you can now create the views inside the folder. Now, I told you there is a shortcut and you can use that since you are just starting. So I will delete that folder again. What you can do is when you are on the view here in Visual Studio, you can right click on the name. You know this name is index, right? Do you guys see that? Okay. We are trying to create a view for all of these actions we have here. Okay. Are you with me? And like I said, when you want to create a view, you have different options to do that. One of the easiest way is to manually do it. And to manually do it, you come to your views folder, create a folder for the controller first. If you notice, our home controller, we have a folder for it, right? So since you want to create a view for an action that is inside your hotel controller, what will be the first thing you do? You create a folder for hotel too. So you come here, new folder, call the folder hotel. Then you can create a view inside it. Another approach you can use is right click on an action. You know, we want to create a view for this index action. I can right click on it and you will see this option that says add view. If I click on that option now, it's telling me, do I want an empty view or a razor view? Okay. Now for our case right now, we want an empty view. So I'll select empty view, click on add. It will create that view straight for you, and it will even tell you the name it wants to name the view. Now, if you use this approach, leave the name. Now, there's something you might notice, that the name of the view is the same name of the action. Did you notice that? So the action was index. The view is index. That is what you want. Index.cshtml. That is what you want. So click on add. The moment I do that, did you notice it created the hotel folder first before creating index view inside? Did you notice that? Good, good. So now we have a view for our index. Now inside this index view, you can write HTML here. So for this case, I want to, for this index view, I'm going to say, let's do an H1. Okay, and what this H1 will do is, let's do an H1. And what this H1 will just say is, welcome to hotel index. That's all. Welcome to hotel index page. Let's do it like this. Save that. Did you see that? Are we together there? Good. Good. Now I will close this again now. I want to create a view for details too. So we'll use the same approach. Right click on the name of the action, select add view, empty view. It will use the name. Now, okay, it's not using the name, so we have to change the name here. Now it's saying index 1. We don't want it to be index 1. It should be details. Now always make sure the name is correct. Watch out for your spelling. Use the same thing you use here, because when this project runs and it's trying to look for the view, it will look for it with the name. Okay, so we'll call this details.cshtml, hit add, and that will create it. You see, we have the details view now. For the details view, I'm going to write the same thing I wrote earlier, H1, and here I'll just say hotel details, hotel details view, and I'll save that. I'm done with that now. I'll go ahead and close that, and we have created our views now. So we have a new controller called hotel controller. In the controller, we have two actions there. index control, an index action and a details action. And each of the actions are both returning their own view. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and run this project again. I thought I told you yes the last time. Are you joking with me? Continue to show this error message. Oh, say no so that it doesn't continue. Yes, run. And now our project should run faster than it did the first time. Why is it taking this much time? She dey whine me now. Has any other person run their own? Friday, have you run yours? Okay, okay. You can see now that our project is there. Now, of course, you will not see any link because we don't have a link. We've not added it to the URL part. But watch what happens. If I come to the top here and I put /hotel, okay? You know, the name of our controller is hotel, right? Are we together? Okay, and just run it, It will catch up. Just watch what I'm doing. You know, the name of our controller, the new controller we created is what? Hotel controller, right? So all I need to do is come to /hotel here. No need to put controller there. Just say hotel. If I hit enter, did you notice it brings out our index page? Now, what if I want to go to the details page? What do I do up here now? You will just say hotel /details. And boom, it will bring up your details page. You know, if I do hotel /index, it will still bring up the index, right? You can see that. So now we have created a new controller. We added views to the controller and it is working fine. All right. Now, the only next thing we want to do is we want to go and add the link here. The same way we have privacy and home. I want us to have hotels, and I want us to have just hotels. We want to add hotels here, not details. Okay, just hotels. Okay. So to do that, now these views you have here are specific view for these our controllers, right? Okay, Gift, you want to ask a question? Sorry, I can hardly hear you, like hardly. Okay, what's the error? Share your screen. What do you say? Which error are you getting? Okay, I'm coming. Just a minute. Let me, because I can hardly hear you. Let me see if I turn on my headset. I'll be able to hear better. Okay, come again with what you said.
You edited the index view file.
Yeah.
So I used what you did. I didn't feel like it.
I did not really, I just added a line of code here. sorry, the hotel, the index, right?
Yes.
This is the only code I added here, H1 with some text inside it.
Oh.
Have you
It's
done?
like it's underlying. No, there's something is underlying here. It's underlying view data.
Is underlining where?
View data.
This break is underlining this your line.
No. Like I think the link that app
Add
contains the view
add
data.
it up.
Yes.
Which type of view did you create? Did you create a normal? Because okay, let's do this. Let me delete my view. Delete your own. I'll delete this index view. Delete your own too. Okay. Stop your program from running currently running. Delete this view. I'll delete my own. Now I want to recreate it. So I'll come to my controller, click on the action. The name of the action is index. Are you with me here now? Right click on add view. What we want is an empty view, not a razor view. Make sure you don't select razor. Just select razor view empty.
Because it links directly to add MVC.
Come again.
It links directly to add MVC.
Oh. Wait, maybe you are not this. Look at it your left bar. Make sure view is selected. View.
And like I'm not having that kind of focus I'm having is add MVC. Name, template,
Oh,
option,
okay, I'm coming. This is what you are saying, right?
no, this is what I'm saying.
Can you take a piece of your and share it on our WhatsApp? Please do that. Let me.
He's having error. We already started the login. Already
And I'm not teach that.
finished. Looks good.
I keep thinking, just try to take a piece and send from the WhatsApp group. Okay. Oh. You are still using, is it Visual Studio 2019 you are using? Eh?
2019 I'm using.
Abájọ, no wonder. And for your own case, just click on add. Click on add for your own case. Okay, click on
No,
add.
I think she did not use the empty. What she used was the scaffolding. Just add
You
it.
say what?
I think what she used was the scaffolding.
And that's what she used. That's why we are here. But
Just add now.
give click
I
on
I
add.
use the same thing.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Click on that add button there. Just click on add button. Have you
I've
done
done
that?
that.
Good. Now, do the code you have, does it look like this my own code?
No, it has view data, title, because you index, then
Select,
It's the
select,
same thing.
H1.
it's the same thing. But what I would advise is if you can get Visual Studio 2020. Okay, I think you are even using Visual Studio 2020 and you are still using ASP.NET Core 3. Is that what you are using?
Sir?
I think the version of ASP.NET
Hello?
Core you are using is ASP.NET Core 3.
It's 2.2, right?
Yes, yes. Well, no problem. It's the same thing. Just leave your code the way it is. Now write this thing that me I had here, H1.
Okay.
But I would advise you guys, if you can install 2022, please do that, okay? Because I'll be using 2022 for the training.
I'm done.
Alright, good. Is there still an error?
No.
Good, it should work fine. Do you have your details view too? Do you have details view?
Yes.
And no error yet.
No.
Okay, good. That means we are all good to go. Hmm?
I can run it now.
Yes, you can run it now and it should
I
run.
can run it now.
Yes, run it. Quickly do that so that I will just finish the last thing I want to discuss because it's almost 12 and I have to go somewhere, home to be precise.
You don't dey keep madam waiting.
Mr. Friday, which my
Latif tell me.
Latif. Wait, una dey gossip for my back, abi? Latif, una dey gossip for my back, abi? No problem, no problem. Make I know say you see
As you
say
as you no wan tell us, Nko.
now una gossip for my back.
Abio, me and him, we had a deal. Oh, that
Yes,
is
sir.
on his wedding day, I was going to look for wife. That I was going to marry his wife's bridesmaid, and he refused to get married.
Okay, now me I've told you better waka your own waka, no wait for me. Okay, gift, is he running now?
Yes. It's running. I'm not saying. How am I going to start for the project?
Okay, and you have to visit the controller. So in your own case now, your currently what you are having is just HTTP, then the local host abi.
Yes.
On the URL, go to the URL and put /hotel, /hotel. Whenever you need to visit a specific controller, you have to specify it on the URL tab. Did it work?
/hotel.
Yes, /hotel. Single /, so not double. Did it work?
No.
Hmm?
Is it after
Slash hotel
local
slash
host?
index.
Do
Is it
/hotel/index.
after?
Okay,
Slash hotel slash
let me run my own
See,
so you can follow what I do.
first and foremost, has she added any page, any HTML?
yes.
And she did.
Okay.
Give, look at my screen. Can you see my screen?
Okay.
Okay, good. If I want to visit the hotel page now, I'll come to the top here, do /hotel. Okay? Did you see what I just did? Okay, do the same thing. Just do /hotel. Hit enter. That should take you to the index page of the hotel controller. Did it work?
Okay. Yeah.
Good. If you want to visit the details page, don't forget that we are seeing the index page because the index page is the default page for every controller. And that's why we do not need to do /hotel/index. Just /hotel is because if you don't use /index to still work. But when you want to visit any other page, you need to
Okay,
specify
okay.
the name of the page. So in this case now, we want to go to the details controller. So we do /hotel/details. Hit enter and it should take us to the details view. Try that. You can see if it works. Did it work?
Yes.
Okay, good. That means we're all on track. We're all on the same path now. Good. The last thing I want to quickly share with you guys is this. Now, if you look at our folder, we have the hotel folder, the home folder, which is the folder for our home controller, and we have the hotel folder, which is the folder for our hotel controller. We also have the shared folder, but you will notice we don't have a shared controller. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Now, the shared folder is a folder where we have shared resources where we have resources that are shared by our home and hotel folder. Now, what I mean is this. Now, in some websites, there are some parts of the website that always look the same, right?
Yes.
Yes.
For example, these are our websites now. You will notice that the top, this bar at the top and the footer is the same wherever you go. Even if I go to hotel, the top and the footer is the same. So what ASP.NET Core does is, those parts that will look the same, the only part that is changing this our website is this center part, this rectangle box here. The top and footer are always the same. So in ASP.NET Core, the code for the top and the footer, we used to separate it and put it in this shared folder. That's why if you come to this folder now, you are seeing this thing that is called layout.cshtml. If I open it is just another view. You will notice that this is where most of our code for the top and for the header and the footer are. For example, let's look for the name of the project. Can you see the name here? Hotel. That's the name. So now this is the header of our project. If you look at the header, you will notice in the header, let's look for the name. Let me collapse this section here.
Stephen, sorry, your voice got broken at some point. We are not hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we were explaining share.
Yes. Now, as I was saying, I said the shared folder is the folder where code that is shared by your other view is kept.
Okay.
In this case now, we are looking at the layout.cshtml, which contains the code for the header and footer of our page.
Okay.
Good. If you look at the header now, this is the header code. If I look for where the name of our project is, the name of our project, you can see it here, hotel. It's inside an A tag. This thing here, this hotel here, that's it there. You can also see we have the navigation. We have all the navigation for home and privacy. If I go back to our page, you see we have home and privacy. Do you see it there? Let's add a new one. And this one now, for now, whenever we want to go to the hotel controller, we used to type it at the top here.
Yes.
The truth is, you will not let your users to be doing that. If I visit your site and I need to type there, I will visit again. Normally, what you will do is you will give your users links that are clickable, that they can click and go to wherever they want. Okay? So let's add a new link to go to our hotel controller. To do that, I'll simply just copy an existing link. You can see currently we have two links. They are both LI tags, but they are two. One is going to home, the other one is going to private. So what I will do is just copy this last one, paste it under it to create a new link. Now, this new link, which controller should this link going to? Hotel, right?
Yes.
So change, you see this place, you have ASP controller, change it to hotel. Then you have another one, it says ASP action, which action a controller is going to. Which action do we want this one to go to? We want it to go to the index. Did you see that? Did we see that?
Yes.
Good. The next thing now is which name should show. For the name, let's call it hotel home. Okay, hotel home. If we leave this like this now and I say we have hot reload in ASP.NET Core. What hot reload means is instead of stopping your app and rerunning, sometimes if what you did was just you make minor changes, you don't need to stop the app. You can just click on this red icon button here to reduce the project. So if I come to the screen here, you can see we have hotel home. Was it hotel home we called it?
Yes.
That's what hotel home. Let's leave it like that. Let's come down. You will notice if I click on hotel home now, it takes us to that index page of our hotel controller. Did you see that?
But let me quickly add my own.
Alright, good. So let's quickly do that. If you want to add. So come to your layout page. In your layout page, look for where you have the navigation for home and privacy. Copy one of them and paste it under and just edit the controller, the action, and the display text there. Edit that and that should add it for you. Have you done that?
Yes, I'm trying to run.
Alright.
Okay. Perfect.
Is it linking to the right places?
Yes.
Alright, perfect. So that's that for the header. Okay, that is the header. Okay. Now, apart from the header, if you scroll down, you will see we have the footer here, right?
Yes.
And of course, the footer contains everything in the footer. If you want to edit or add anything, you can see it there. But where I want to draw your attention to is this div that we have here. You can see inside this div, we have a C# code that this at render.
Yes.
Now, I told you that this page, this file we're looking at right now, is the layout file, right?
Yeah.
This file would always show, this file we are looking at here would always, it is the main layout of our page. Okay, the header is here, the footer is here. Now, at runtime, whenever we want to visit our home controller, ASP.NET will just go and fetch your home controller page, insert it in this place we have as render body. If what you wanted to visit was your hotel controller, it will get the specific page and insert it here. That's why we have this code here at render body. Trying to tell it that whenever you want to render any other page, this is where you will throw the page inside. Did we get it?
But I have a question, like
Okay.
personal.
Ask your question.
Now we are working with ASP.NET Core, yeah.
Yes.
We are working with ASP.NET Core, yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole of this thing you explained so far is exactly the same thing with ASP.NET MVC. What's the difference?
It's the same thing. ASP.NET Core and ASP.NET
Exactly the same.
is the same thing. The difference is that, this thing we are doing here is ASP.NET Core MVC, right?
Exactly.
Good. When you were in New Horizon, you were taught ASP.NET MVC. Now, don't just
MVC,
focus,
yes.
don't just focus on that name alone. Okay? Don't just focus on that name alone. What I want you to focus on is on the platform at which they are running. The ASP.NET MVC we were taught in New Horizon was running on .NET Framework. And .NET Framework is a platform that runs on only Windows systems.
Okay.
ASP.NET Core MVC, on the other hand, is running on the .NET Core framework, which is a framework that runs on all platforms, be it Windows, Mac, Linux, any platform at all. Okay?
Okay.
Do you understand
Yeah.
that?
I got.
So a lot of
Yes, yes,
concepts
yes.
from the old ASP.NET MVC you learned is still applicable here. It's just that on this platform now, they are better and they run on all platforms. Okay?
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So that is for that. That is for that. So you can see that is where we have that. Now we are not done with this page, but because of time, now I'm going to give you guys an assignment. Okay? Your assignment is this. I want you to go to Bootstrap. Spend between now and our next class studying Bootstrap. In fact, I want you to Photoshop this page we have right now. Currently, this page we just have a menu here, right? Just some couple of menus. If you go to Bootstrap website, if I go to Get Bootstrap now, okay, if I go to Get Bootstrap, I think it's Bootstrap 5 and this thing. Let's confirm the version of Bootstrap. If we come here to where Bootstrap is, I want to confirm the version of Bootstrap. It's using Bootstrap 5, right? So go to get Bootstrap 5 on your browser. If you click on it will tell you how to use Bootstrap and all of that. But what I want you to focus on, of course, you can read everything, but your assignment is this. Currently, our navigation bar is white, right? Our navigation bar is white. I want you to go and learn about Bootstrap. I want you to go learn about Bootstrap and make it dark. They have a way of changing it to dark. So go learn about Bootstrap and make it dark. And then let me see again. For the home page here, instead of this welcome we are seeing. Now, don't forget this. When you are working with Bootstrap in ASP.NET Core, you don't have to go and be adding Bootstrap to the project. Microsoft has done the job of adding Bootstrap to your project. All you need to do now is go to Bootstrap site, copy an example, and come and paste it here. For example, let me come to Bootstrap site. If I come to
Copy and
Bootstrap,
paste.
yeah, exactly. If I come to Bootstrap, I want to use something in Bootstrap called an accordion. So if I come to Bootstrap under components, do you see what they call accordion here? If I click on it, do you see that I did not go and start from beginning on how to add Bootstrap to my project and all of that? Because again, like I said, Microsoft has done that job for us. They have added Bootstrap to our project. So I don't have to go and do that again. I can just come here, copy code, paste it, and it will work. Why? Because Bootstrap is already in my project. So if I come to accordion, look at an example of an accordion here. This is what we call accordion. Have you visited a site where if you click on a link, something will drop down? You click on it again to cover. They have it in most of these frequently asked questions section. You can see them here. Do you notice how this thing is behaving now? This is an accordion. So this is the code to make this accordion. Now, if I want this accordion in my home page, okay, all I need to do is, if you see on top here, there's a
Just
button
copy
to
and
copy it. I'll copy it, come to my code, and I'll go to that page. I'm looking for my home page index. So the index page of my home controller, this is my home controller. This is the index page. I'll just copy that accordion, replace everything here with that accordion. Do you see? I just deleted the old thing, pasted that new code I copied. I'll just save it. And if I come back to my browser now, come to my home page, did I not rerun? Oh, I need to hit hot reload. Oh, it's not running at that point. So I need to rerun it. It should refresh when it's done run. It should be up now. Good. Did you see on our home page now we have this accordion now? Did you see this? Are you guys seeing that? Friday, are you seeing it?
Yes, I actually went to go and meet my other guys up that are causing nuisance. So I was not actually, yeah, the thing just vex me. It just a play nonsense.
Alright.
And I told them I was in class.
Okay. So this is the accordion now. You can see we can drop it down and all of that. So were you here when I copied the code of this accordion?
No, I don't even know how you got to this place.
But
You
you
were
were
talking
here when
about,
I visited Bootstrap.
yes,
And what I'm talking about is in ASP.NET, whenever you want to use Bootstrap, the way we created our project, you saw that Bootstrap was already in there from beginning, right?
where?
Which means in our project, you remember in the CSS or in the folder here, when I dropped down, we saw Bootstrap earlier.
Okay, yes.
So the project has been built with Bootstrap already.
Okay.
So what I wanted to do, before our home page, let me refresh this home page. If we come to our home page, this was what was in our home page before.
Okay.
Now, I don't want this. I want to replace it with what we call accordions in Bootstrap. How do I know
Okay.
this exists? It's simple. I have used Bootstrap before, so I know it exists. So what you do is go to Bootstrap, and if you go to this place, to the beginning of getting started with Bootstrap, the introduction and everything, you don't need to worry about yourself about this introduction unless you just want to learn it for learning sake. Because ASP.NET Core has done the job of giving us accordions. Okay, all I need to do when I want to use Bootstrap, okay, all I need to do now is just come here and under their component, did you see accordion here? This is what I'm looking
Yeah.
for. All I
Okay.
need to do now is scroll to the examples. They will give you a lot of examples of accordion. Okay,
Okay.
a lot of examples, and they will give you the code. Just simply copy the code. That's all. Come back to
Sorry.
yes.
What about the bootstrap links? Do we need
That is
to?
what I am telling you. You don't need it again because ASP.NET, Microsoft already included it for you.
Okay.
If you notice, we have Bootstrap already in our project now.
Okay, yeah.
This is Bootstrap here, and if I go to the layout file, you will see the link. See the link to Bootstrap already.
Okay.
So you don't need to add it again. It has been added, unless maybe you scaffolded an empty project. That's when you need
Yeah.
to go through the stress.
Okay.
But if you scaffolded the way I scaffolded when we started, you don't need to go through all those stress. Good. Now that I've copied the link to the accordion, I will go to my home page. This is my home page that used to say welcome. I don't need the welcome anymore. I will delete it, paste the code for the accordion that I copied, save that, hot reload. It has applied the changes. Let's come back to our web page. Do you see it has
But
replaced?
which version of Bootstrap is our system using?
We already discussed that, but if you want to find out
Which version of Bootstrap is our
we already discussed that, but if you want to
yeah.
find out yourself, all you need to do is come to your solution explorer. Okay, are you with me?
Okay.
Come to
Yeah.
your solution explorer,
Yes,
open
yes,
your
yes.
www and look for where you have the bootstrap folder. Drop it down, open any of the bootstrap files. For example, if I open this bootstrap.css, at the top you will see
Okay.
the same bootstrap file,
Okay,
right?
chapter 5. Yeah.
So good. So once you already know the version of Bootstrap your project is using, go to Bootstrap, search for example of anything you need here, copy the code, come to your code in C# and your page, wherever you want to paste the code, paste it, save it, and it will show up. Are we together?
Yes, so.
Good. Now, your assignment is this. Thank God this is here. Your assignment is this. This home page, that your home page that is showing welcome. You know, me, I've changed my own to this accordion, right? This is your home page now. What I need you to do is replace it with what we call a carousel in Bootstrap.
Okay,
Push it
carousel.
up.
Carousel.
Gift, you worked with Bootstrap before, right?
Okay.
Hello, Gift. Gift, are you with us at all?
I think our network is bad.
Yeah. I will drop a voice note on the chat so that you can get the assignment. So what I need you to do
No, no, when is our next class?
we've discussed that. I'm not sure, but our next class will be before weekend.
Okay.
We'll have one during the week. I'll just drop a chat for you guys so you take note of that. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So now what I need you to do is this home page here. Okay, this home page here. Replace this with a carousel. Okay, that image slider. And Friday, you know what a carousel is now?
Yes, sir.
Even if you don't know what it is, go to Bootstrap and search for it. You will see it there. So if you come down here, you should see a carousel. This is what a carousel is. Something like a slider like this. Okay?
Okay.
So, but you can see that Bootstrap did not add image. Me, I need you to add image. Use good images.
Where will come see image add?
Good. If you want to get images, go to free images for development. You can go to Pencil, search for Pexels on Google, and you'll see a lot of free images. Now, since we need images relating to hotel, just search hotel. I'm not logging in. Just search hotel, and you see it will give you a lot of images relating to hotel there. Okay? Can you see that?
So yeah. Okay.
Now, don't worry. I'll drop a message on your group on where to get images. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
All right.
All right. So once you do that now, just add that there. And so what I need you to do for your assignment is change your carousel. Okay? Are you with me?
Yeah, see, I'm observing something. No, I don't have bootstrap on my this.
You will have. There's no way you will not have. If you created it the same way we created, you will have. Click on maybe all the code you have been writing before has been working.
Yes, now.
You have bootstrap there. To see, click on this www root.
Root, yes. Click on
Drop
CSS
it
file.
down.
Yes.
Not inside CSS. Under
Oh,
lead.
okay, okay.
Your bootstrap is there.
Okay,
So, like
bootstrap,
I
that's
said, change this home page to a carousel. Okay, your home page, this home page here, change it to a carousel. Okay, are we together? Nadia, are you with
okay.
me?
Yes, yes.
Good. Change it to a carousel. And the carousel will have at least 4 or 5 images that are sliding.
Okay.
And don't just use any carousel. Use a carousel that has text on top of it. So look
Okay.
for an example that has something like this is what I want. That has and some write-up.
Okay.
Good. So that's your assignment. I might add to it, but this is the assignment for now. I might add to it, right?
Okay.
Okay, so we'll end the class here. Thank you for joining me.
Please, I beg, before you quickly go, I beg, can
Okay.
you show me that place you checked that bootstrap? I'm trying to check on my this thing. I'm not seeing it.
Open your solution explorer under www.
Yes.
Drop down this your lead. You have a lead folder, right?
Yes, I'm seeing bootstrap.
And that's bootstrap. Drop it down. You'll see all your bootstrap files inside it.
If I drop it down, I'm seeing dist license. Just
And drop this down again.
okay. I'm seeing CSS and JS.
Oh, now that's the files there.
Oh.
Alright, so that's it.
More.
Alright. So please try to do the assignment. I will drop the assignment in the group chat again so you go over it, alright?
Okay.